All right, we are at the main event of the evening, Max Holloway versus Calvin Kattar. Now, before I get started with the breakdown, I just want to say, I see a lot of people jumping on the Kattar train, and I totally get it. I love Calvin Kattar, I really do, but y'all must have forgot. You really all must have forgot. Look at the people Calvin Kattar has fought and beat. Don't get me wrong, looks good, looks great. He's doing well, but he's still working his way to the top. Max Holloway, blessed, has been at the top. When was the last time he was bottom 5 or below the top 5? I don't even remember. I don't even think there was a time where Max Holloway was bottom of the top 5. Holloway has clearly beat the better fighters or fought the better fighters. And even the fights that he's lost, we all talk about the Volkanovski fights. He looks great in them. He brings it. The volume. The punches, the strikes, the jabs, movement, even his sort of hybrid stance style where he's constantly moving or switching stance. He's got so much variety in what he can do to adjust if something's not working in his game plan in comparison to Kattar. But let's do the overall breakdown. So, in my opinion, Holloway has the overall better striking. Not boxing, but overall, he has the better striking. Kattar, on the other hand, has the better chance of KO, because 4 of his last 5 fights ended by KO. But that being said, Holloway has not been knocked out for over 9 years. I think 2012, 2011 was the last time he was knocked out. Both fighters have won 10 fights by KO or TKO, as well as 9 wins by decision. So submissions throw them out of the game. I don't think they're going to play a factor. I think this is either going to go to decision or to knockout. Whoever wins, it's going to be one of those two outcomes. Now, Kattar has a solid set of skills, and he might be a little bit quicker than Holloway. I'm unsure of that part, to be quite honest, because I do think Max Holloway is fairly quick. And I think the difference is going to be here is if Holloway can push the pressure like he usually does and keep the volume up, then of course he's going to be the quicker fighter. But when it comes to defensive movement, I think Kattar will be pretty quick and will sort of test Max's ability to catch him. Now, Max, you could argue, has taken damage over a lot of fights, many years, and a lot of great skilled fighters that he fought against. Will that play a factor, or will Holloway show up again and show us why, he is always at the top of the food chain? And to be quite honest, Max is younger than Calvin. So do I think, he's got broken bones in his body and, he's all frail and shit now? No, I don't. I think Max Holloway is just fine. I think people sort of look at the damage like it's something big. He's fine. I don't think we have to worry about damage from previous fights here. And what separates these guys, I'm not saying that Kattar can't get on the level of, for example, Volkanovski or Max Holloway, but I do feel like there is a separation between those two guys and Calvin Kattar, and Kattar's just not there yet. Holloway, in all of his fights, even the ones he's lost, he's just so consistent, always volume, always pressure, always pushing it, never stopping really, And I'm not going to even get into the arguments of the Volkanovski fights. We both know, we all know. Yeah, Max won at least one of those 2 fights. I actually thought he won both those fights, but that's just my personal opinion. In this fight, I feel like Holloway has too many options. He could easily switch stances. He could use a variety of combos and strikes to win this fight. Kattar has the chance to win by knockout if he can do it. Although I think Kattar is competitive and he deserves to be at the top, I do not think he could take out Max. Both of these guys have fought within the last 6 months, and they do fight regularly without huge gaps between their fights. So they're constantly consistent in their fighting and being in the octagon. There's not going to be any ring rust here for either of them. But here's what the difference is going to be for me. I think that Max isn't going to allow Calvin to get comfortable. And I think that is what's going to be the biggest difference. Although Kattar has the 3-inch reach advantage, I think this fight will come down to volume and cardio and pushing the pace, and those are 3 things that Max Holloway is great at. This fight will actually come down to those 2 things, volume and cardio, There is a chance that Holloway might overwhelm Kattar if Kattar doesn't keep pushing the pace with Max. And Max has fought overall, as I said, the better competition in the past. He has beat better fighters. You can consider them, even the ones that he's beat, to be better than Calvin Kattar if you really think about it. Whereas Kattar looks great, especially as of recent, but he hasn't beat the same caliber or level of fighters that Max has. And the one thing that does concern me is that during interview footage that I watched, I noticed that Max he also seemed a little tired, and he was slurring his speech. His eyes, they kind of look sleepy, tired. We've seen this happen to him before during weight cuts, and he wasn't like full on hype. Like usually if he's normal, like he's totally hyped up, happy, go with the flow. He seemed really calmed and relaxed and laid back. So that was a little concerning. I think the weight cut, if anything, will take a toll on him. But Kattar, in his interview that I saw, he looked good. He looked, like they totally like squeezed every single ounce of water out of him, but he looked good. Like you saw him on camera, he was alive. His eyes were open. He had energy. He was laughing. He was smiling. So this is my only one major worry right now for Max is this weight cut. Did it deplete him? We just have to wait and see what happens on the scales and how they look in weigh-ins or during the walkout. I do think Max will win. I do think he'll do it by decision, but this is something I got to see the weigh-in and I got to see the walkout before I make any bet on either of these guys. That being said, guys, that is the end of this prediction video. Man, I just blew through that as quickly as I could. I'm not sure if you guys like that over the longer breakdowns that I usually do.